You're locked into the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. It's round 4 of 9 for 2025 here at MotoAmerica Superbikes at Ridge Motorsports Park as we set the stage for Motivation Supersport in Shelton, Washington for race number 2. And the sun is shining and the track has a lot of temperature in it, and that feeds these Dunlop tires as the racers are ready to get going, and so are we. Welcome everyone to the broadcast. Welcome to the broadcast booth. I'm Greg White, standing alongside two-time national champ Jason Pridmore. Now Jason, Matthew Skoltz came, and he was wicked fast yesterday and was able to claw back 5 points in the championship.
Yeah, and a couple of reasons for that. If you remember, he fell over yesterday in our second qualifying session, Greg. Didn't really get to post a time, so that team, that track team, put that bike back together for him. Those first 4, 5, 6 laps, you heard him say yesterday, he was feeling that bike back out. As you see, he took the lead right from the start. Was talking about how much arms he was using, and he just needed to relax on the bike. As soon as that happened, those lap times started to come. Now, he had an early challenge from the 70 of Ty Scott, and of course, PJ Jacobsen's there every single weekend. For Ty Scott, this was a good showing for him on the 70. He's shown some good pace, some good speed, but Matthew just kept pushing the back and going forward. As you saw, Blake Davis and Kayla Yakov get engaged in a battle for fourth, and Cam Peterson got involved in that as well. Cam came from a long way back yesterday, moved himself forward. He made the pass on Blake Davis. He would eventually find himself on the podium. Why did he find himself on the podium? The guys up in the front, Greg, were racing hard, and you can see these two guys went back and forth. Kayla ended up closing that gap back up a little bit. This was why the battle for the podium became Cam Peterson's, because Ty Scott crashed out of second place. Cam made that pass on Blake. Matthew Skoltz was out front pulling away. PJ Jacobsen settled for second, but I'll tell you this, G-Dub, this morning PJ Jacobsen went 42.3 in morning warm-up, so he was only a tenth off what our pole position was going to be.
And look, this race was so fast. You got to keep in mind that the track record leading into this weekend was a 43.1 race record. And so Tyler Scott, Skoltz, PJ Jacobsen, and Cameron Peterson all were under the track record yesterday. So now that the sun is out, now that the tires are going to get a bunch of heat in it, and PJ Jacobsen was able to do that lap time, we expect track records to fall even further. Well, the sun is out, riders are on the track, so it's time for us to get the third member of our broadcast team, Jamie Howe.
Greg, you guys talked about it. Cameron Peterson was impressive yesterday. After qualifying 8th, he was able to race himself onto his second consecutive podium finish, below the previous track record as well for you, Cameron, but it's with an injury. What can you do today to make the race just a little bit easier on yourself?
Yeah, just got to get off to a good start. I mean, I think first lap I might have dropped back to 12th at a point. So, yeah, I just got a horrible start yesterday. But, you know, I did a bunch of practice starts this morning in warm-up. So I think we got it dialed in. And, yeah, just get through the chicane nice and clean and just take it from there, one lap at a time. Yeah, it's going to be a long race with my shoulder, but 15 laps of my life, I can grit it out, and we'll see where we end up.
Such a positive attitude. I love it from Cameron Peterson. It is just 15 laps. We'll see what he can do if he can get another podium result. Another rider that is looking to do the same after being a lot quicker during qualifying is, of course, Tyler Scott. He qualified himself on the front row, but that was about where the good luck has ended for him. Yesterday going down, he was able to pick the bike up, finish 6th, but then this morning in the warm-up session, another big incident for you. The bike was down nearly to the frame back in the pits, getting ready for the race today. What condition do you think yourself and the bike are in to go out and battle?
I believe the bike's 100%. These guys worked really hard since the bike came off the truck this morning. Can't give enough thanks to the whole Vision Wheel M4XR Suzuki team. It was all hands on deck up until about 30 seconds ago. But I feel pretty good and 100% for the race.
It's all going to come down to these 15 laps, Greg. We'll see if he can have any redemption.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a task for his team on the Vision Wheel M4XR Suzuki crew. But this is the way racing goes sometimes, JP.
Yeah, we saw it happen with Matthew yesterday, and Ty Scott's been just putting together a great season so far. He's showing that he's still got that pace, and I saw him. He didn't look none the worse for wear, which was good. It was a very fast crash. We get a look at the track map. Greg, this is a track that a lot of riders love. It doesn't give you a lot of time to rest. Once you go through that chicane, turns 1, 2, 3 take you up the ridge. From that point, you got a bunch of fast-flowing turns, turn 6 down into 7 and 8, very technical areas, up over through turn 10, and then hard braking areas into 11 and 13 coming down that last little bit of the track here. And it is a long run to the finish line. So it's a track that if you have a bike that works, and I think to your point, you said the heat has come up today. We got a very, very sunny day. So the Dunlop tires are going to love that a lot more, and there'll probably be a wide variance of tire choices for these riders.
Well, we got a race action looming in just about 4.5 minutes, but all eyes on this rider, Kayla Yakov, looking to translate this 4th place start into a win today. Can she get it done? Stick around to find out.
Motivation Supersport is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. By NXT Bets. Play MotoAmerica for cash, multiple race classes live on top sportsbook and DFS platforms all season long. And by Motivation, the most trusted online resource for premium motorcycle parts and accessories delivered right to your door.
Championship leader PJ Jacobson had a difficult day yesterday, but holds a 15-point advantage here in the Motivation Supersport Championship. But Rog, when we saw him this morning, he was able to set the pace in the morning warm-up.
Yeah, and also did his best lap of the weekend, faster than he qualified, even quicker than he went yesterday's race. So for PJ, he talked about the team. They needed to make some adjustments overnight, and it looks like the Ray Hall Ducati team did a great job. And I'm sure PJ probably found a little time himself, probably analyzed and thinking about where he could be better. So PJ needed to find a couple tenths, and we'll see if he can do that in the race.
Very hot conditions here as well. It was 43 degrees track temperature for the last race, the Twins Cup race. It's probably a little bit hotter now as well, so in and around that 43, 44. What's that going to do for these Supersport riders?
Well, I think the track could be a little bit more greasy as it gets hot like this, as the race goes on. It's going to be a different feeling. That's the thing. It could work better for some of the riders that are going to like the heat, but there's going to be a couple riders, we've heard even some of the other races today, just didn't feel comfortable today.
Yeah, feeling comfortable out there is going to be the key thing here at the Ridge for this 15-lap Supersport race. Matt Scholes, our reigning champion, second in the standings. He's dominated the weekend so far. He'll obviously be expecting to be able to wrap up a double.
Yeah, and he's going to be tough to beat. If you're going to win, I think it's going to have to come through Matt, and he's just such a good rider, and at this track he's got it dialed in, and that Strack Racing team did a great job on that new Yamaha R9.
Third row of the grid, Cam Peterson came through to finish on the podium yesterday. What's his chances today with that injury?
Well, he's going to have to get a better start today. Yesterday we seen he barely was inside the top 10 off the line, so I think today he really needs to get a better start and not lose those spots early on. And Blake Davis here, he could do something as well yesterday, losing that podium battle toward the end.
As we get ready on the warm-up lap here, we'll get ready to throw over to Greg White and Jason Pridmore to call the action here in the Motivation Supersport Class Race 2 at the Ridge.
Welcome back, Shelton, Washington. Motivation Supersport race number 2, warm-up lap underway. As riders get a good look at what they're up to. They've done a sighting lap, but hey, play MotoAmerica for cash. The Superbike and Supersport series are now live on top sportbooks and DFS platforms. Scan the flow code or visit nxtbets.com/PlayMA to see what's available in your location. Sign up, claim exclusive bonuses, and make your picks now. And if you don't know, our very own Jason Pridmore does a little thing on MotoAmerica Live Plus about that whole situation earlier in the weekend. Educate yourself. Go check it out. As this race number 2 for Motivation Supersport gets underway, this is how they qualified with Matthew Schultz on the pole position.
PJ Jacobs and Tyler Scott there on the front row. Yakov Davis and Jake Lewis there in 6th place. Hobbs, Peterson, Corey Alexander, Josh Hayes, Ojawara, Torrin Collins on the other Altus Suzuki. Aiden Sneed, Dave Anthony, Max Van Enriquez, Owen Williams, and Jarrett Nassani. And then just a little bit further back, Omen Maggs and Luca Allen round out our grid. Heard Cam Peterson talk a little bit there, Gita, about getting a good start. And at this place, it's such a short run to that chicane. And the chicane kind of becomes a bit of a traffic jam. And so yesterday, if you get caught out like Cam did without getting a good start, it's pretty easy to get shuffled back. You get yourself in kind of the wrong spot. And so for the 45, I expect him to get a bit better start. He's also coming from 8th, so that makes it a little bit harder even more because you're trying to predict how fast everybody's going to go into that first turn, and sometimes you have to be cautiously aggressive, if you will, and it makes it a little bit difficult. So we'll see if Cam can get a better start because he definitely did some good things. Also now Ty Scott, he had a sighting lap and a warm-up lap to try to, kind of feel that bike out. And, it's never ideal when you tip off in a session right before the race.
Yeah.
You put your team under a lot of stress, and obviously we don't, as riders, choose to do that, but it happens. But it definitely gives you some questions before the green lights go out.
Here we go, Ridge Motorsports Park, Motivation Supersport race number 2. Upper left part of your screen are those red lights. When they're off, we're rolling. Here we go. Oh, a good launch. Again, PJ Jacobsen. Not the best start from him, but it looks like Ty Scott got a good one as we bend it in to turn number 1 in the chicane. It's going to be the number 1 of Matthew Schultz from pole position. He's going to lead us.
Yeah, it looked like, again, PJ just, he's in third, though. I mean, he didn't lose a ton of time. He's in third. You see him there with Blake, and, man, I'm trying to see who that was. It just charged up. It's either Teague Hobbs or Hayes. I think it's Teague. Teague Hobbs done a really nice job here to put himself in the shop window in that top 5, up to 4th. That's going to be a bummer for Blake there. Kayla back in 6th. So she yesterday had to make some big passes early. As you see her looking down the inside of Blake, see if she can make that pass stick. Not quite, as Cam Peterson and Josh Hayes. That looked like Cam and Josh got together. Not positive on that, but that's what it looked like to me. As you see, Josh was hung up on that
foot peg.
Yeah, and it looks like Cam's underneath the bike. Josh is trying to pick it up off of him. I saw that just out the corner, that it looked like they had got together. So now up front, let's look back. That dust that you see there is from that incident. Still Matthew Schultz, Ty Scott, PJ Jacobsen, Teague Hobbs, Blake Davis, and there's Jake Lewis just behind Kayla. So, man, that's such a bummer for Cam P and for Josh Hayes.
All right, so kind of a replay of what we had at the start yesterday with Matthew Schultz. Down to the waterfall we go. Here's another look at it.
This angle here, you're just going to see kind of the aftermath. I saw it from the other camera angle, the one just before that. I could kind of see them getting hooked into each other just a little. It looked like Cam was trying to go up the inside of Josh. So I'd have to see it again, because, again, not purely speculation, but that's kind of what the early deal was there. So the front 3, we're business as usual up at the front, and it will get settled between these 3, I believe. As you can see, they've already opened up, Greg. 2.2 second lead. Looks like Kayla's got a problem. Kayla's now pulling off. Here's another view. You see Cam up the inside of Josh. He was already losing the front, and collects Josh with him there as both rider. And here you go, another view to the left of your screen right there. So, yeah, both riders. I didn't see Cam get up, only because it looked like Josh was trying to pick the bike up off him, didn't it? And there's Kayla off to the right there. Pretty devastating for Kayla. She's been riding amazing this weekend, and to see this is such a bummer for her.
So Kayla with her arm in the air and hand out. So she's trying to get that Ducati refired. And, of course, that's just some frustration from Jakob, because she knows this is such a great track. And to leave here and really head off to what is the second half of the season here for 2025 would have been great.
Yeah, and
now a pass.
While we were looking at that, PJ Jacobsen was able to get past Ty Scott. Here's both Cam. These guys have a long history with each other. And Cam and Josh talking. Just good to see them both up and walking. Cam does not need any more injuries for sure. So you can see he's maybe got his left leg problem there as he was trying to get a little bit of help. And yeah, so PJ had pace this morning. Let's talk about that. I saw this morning he went 42.3. Matthew ended up going 42.5 at the end of the session. And right now it looks like PJ is trying to make a charge forward, Jamie.
After talking to PJ after that morning warm-up, one of the things that he said was they were able to find a lot more confidence in the setup changes that they made overnight. If you remember back to the race yesterday, he said that he really just couldn't fight that front end at all. He said he couldn't use it, and even though he did have a good solid points day, he said that's not a bike that he wanted to race with again today. And you can see on the screen just how big those improvements have been for him overnight, and the pace that he has right now, he has something to fight with.
Well, Greg, just in that turn there, you can see how good that Ducati was turning in that turn 3, 4, 5 section of the racetrack, and he's been able to bridge this gap.
Yeah, he has.
He's gone the fastest first split. How about Teague Hobbs? This is great stuff from the number 79, as you see him just ahead of our previous race winner at MotoAmerica, Blake Davis. For Teague Hobbs, I saw him this morning down into the 43s, and he's already done that again here. He's gone 43.8. If you remember yesterday on the last lap of the race, he was able to slide by his teammate Josh Hayes and run a 43.8 on the last lap. And look at how much pace Blake has up here, though. Blake's got a lot of pace up in that spot. So, you know, this might be a deal where if Blake can get by, he might be able to pull Teague forward even further.
All right, so Teague Hobbs out of Manchester, New Hampshire on the BPR Racing Yamaha R9. Good to see him back up in a high point scoring position. Let's see if the 22 has got any way to get around him. And that's one of the things as Blake Davis is trying to find some braking room. But this racetrack really, it's one of the best we have when we break it up into sections, because you can really see where riders and motorcycles work totally different in our different sectors that we have split on our timing and scoring screen. So we're going to come across the stripe. 43.3 by Schultz was the best lap of the race. Now PJ at a 143.2. So you can see there that PJ was able to grab back a little over a tenth of a second from the previous lap for Matthew Schultz. So the question now for the number 15 of PJ Jacobsen on that Ray Hall Ducati Moto with Expel V2 is where? Where is he going to attack, and when does he want to attack?
Oh man, the bike just looks like it's carving so well for that. And give a shout out to Ty Scott, 43.4. Again, Greg, I cannot tell you as a rider, from a rider's perspective, when you tip off a bike and you damage it to the extent that he did this morning, he's literally feeling that bike out right now for things. His team, that Vision Wheel M4 Suzuki team, did a tremendous job. You heard him say all hands on deck. He went 43.4. He hasn't let these guys go just yet. These two guys engage at all. It's going to bring Ty Scott back into it. But PJ's bike looks a little bit more settled as far as his tipping in. This is his crash yesterday that we talked about. He had a very similar crash to that of Matthew Schultz in warm-up, but he got to that bike, was able to get some points and get together. And then this morning in the warm-up, this is coming down into a very fast section. Watch this motorcycle, Greg. He just slid on its side. It flipped at the end. Ty was up and okay, thankfully. But he did make a mess of it, and but he's still right there in this.
Yeah, no, that's behind him, as you have to do when you're in this business of motorcycle road racing. But Matthew Schultz, I'm sure he feels the pressure. When he comes across the line here, there's going to be a pit board that hangs out on the wall. That's information that riders get so they know what's going on behind them. And generally that's going to happen once every minute and 43 seconds. So a 143.3 for Schultz, his personal best lap of the race, and PJ just a tenth behind him. So it looks like we've settled in.
You see the difference in lines there?
Yeah.
PJ can take a much tighter line, and he's got, even when we go over the top of the hill, the bike gets really light. Now watch here. Matthew's going to use up a little bit more racetrack than PJ. You can see PJ's tighter, can hold that arc. And it's, even though Matthew's opening up the radius of the turn in the middle of the turn, you can see that he's not exactly just yarding away from PJ Jacobsen.
Jamie, what you got?
Even though Matthew Schultz was able to win the race yesterday, he beat himself up pretty good afterwards, saying that he was just attacking too hard in the early stages of the race, and he really needed to calm down and just clear his mind and hit all of his marks. And you can see his body language, how different he is the early stages of the race today. He's been able to start the race off that way, and hopefully he's going to have a better bike to fight with at the end.
Now, Jay, why, especially at a racetrack like this that has so much elevation changes and extreme changes, are you wanting a relaxed body?
Well, for sure. This is a track that will work you out, and that's why these guys train as hard as they do. You want to try to be able to find a flow here at the Ridge, because there's a lot of places where you're stopping and starting. And, you know, talking to a lot of the riders, even this morning, I went to a number of different riders talking about how they're using their legs and things like that, especially even in little sections like this. You know, you want your lower body to beat the bike over to the turn that you're going to. So that's why you'll see so much movement between riders. And there's really nowhere on this track, Greg, where you're going to see riders generally sitting in the middle of the seat, maybe for a brief moment down this straightaway, but their bodies are always going to be one side or the other here at the Ridge.
So Matthew Schultz leads PJ Jacobsen, who just goes fastest lap of the race. You can see the bottom of your screen, a 143 flat. Yesterday, top of the show, we talked about it. 142.3 was the fastest lap. Now we ratchet back to fourth place, number 22, Blake Davis and Teague Hobbs. And as we come into court, there is, let's see, we got Teague Hobbs 79, Corey Alexander on the 23. Yota Ojiwara back there as well in seventh place, ahead of Jake Lewis, Torrin Collins, and Aiden Sneed. Quite the story for the seventh place rider. You can see on the left part of your screen, in our timing and scoring pylon there, Ojiwara, Asia Cup points leader, undefeated in Asia Cup, which runs with the MotoGP program. Jamie, what do you have on the number 30?
Yeah, so he races in the Asian Talent Cup, and they don't have another race until August, so he's able to spend his summer over here in MotoAmerica. He was actually at Road America, didn't get on a bike. Friday was the first time ever sitting on a Supersport bike, and that team has been making big changes from session to session. But even at 16 years old, he's able to get quicker and quicker each session as well. So they had a lot of really great things to say from him. Another good young rider coming over. It's great to see him inside of the top 10.
There he is on that Vezra Racing Suzuki GSX-R 750.
How impressive is that, though, that he's never been on a Supersport bike, never seen the ridge, just comes here, and you can see the chatter. When you're 16, Greg, you don't even feel the chatter. You don't feel any of that stuff. But he's got a great team of guys around him down in that Vezra group down there. Everything looks pretty sharp, but he's doing 44.5, and you can see just up the road from him is Corey Alexander, who, you know, Corey's been around a while, riding for that Ray Hall team. This young man here at 16 has got a pretty bright future ahead of himself, and it's really great that we're able to see him over here in America with us. There's Corey.
There is the number 23, Corey Alexander, the Ray Hall Ducati Moto with roller die and forming on the Panigale V2.
And look, Corey's just trying to get his year started. He's had just a bunch of bad luck, honestly, and there's really nothing else that you can ring it up to other than that. And I think for Corey, if he gets out of here today, he just has a couple of results. He got a result yesterday, even though they had a problem during the race, mechanically a small problem that put him back further. You know, but this guy here, he's won championships here at MotoAmerica, has Corey, and he's not running where I know he wants to be, but he just needs to get his season started here at the Ridge.
Back up front, we go to Matthew Skoltz and PJ Jacobsen. This has fallen into quite the rhythm. It's a fast rhythm. Matthew Skoltz only 0.2 of a second off of his fastest lap, but JP looking at the split. Skoltz just went personal best in sector number 1. PJ went best of the entire race, and Skoltz just had to look back because you can tell he's trying to push the issue, but PJ's not going anywhere.
There was an earlier corner about 2 laps ago where I thought Matthew was kind of gonna, you know, he ran really wide. It was almost like I thought he was baiting PJ to go through. But right now, PJ just sitting on the back of Matthew. This is a lot like last year at this stage of the race. More importantly, Greg, they've really dropped Ty Scott. 42.8 fastest lap of the race from the 15 of PJ Jacobsen. Blake Davis now is coming up and catching Ty Scott. There's only half a second between those two, so not exactly sure. Something happened to Ty. You can see it back there in the foreground. You can see, here it is. Ty Scott just dropping back ever so slightly. Blake Davis is there. Teague Hobbs still running a solid 5th spot. So Teague isn't completely out of this battle for the podium, as he just did the best lap of his race at a 43.8.
Yeah, behind them was a Corey Alexander that we looked at, Jay, and for a moment Corey had gained a couple tenths of a second, but they were able to eke out another 4 tenths on the 6th place rider, Alexander. So PJ all over the back of Matthew Skoltz on that Strack Racing. That is the brand new for 2025 Yamaha YZF R9. The amount of development that went into it over the winter months, not to mention the fact the rules package that MotoAmerica was able to put together in this next generation racing, and shows you how competitive this Yamaha is out of the box, as now it looks like Matthew Skoltz's teammate Blake Davis trying to make a move around Ty Scott. Ty's having none of it for the moment.
Man, and Teague Hobbs, look, he's right behind him. He's there in 5th. He just ran his fastest first split. He's just hoping that these two guys just mess around just a little bit. It looks like Blake's got a good run. Yeah, Ty's got a small problem, and you kind of would expect that to see him drop off the pace the way he is. And Blake slides down the inside of him there as they go down 13. So Blake Davis makes that spot there for the podium. And Ty's going to do everything he can to hold on to the back. And if he can kind of hold on for the next 8 laps or 7 laps in that spot, he might be able to do something. But you can see him looking down to the right. Maybe rear brake's not working. Something obviously is got his attention.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's massively major, but it's definitely distracting Division Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki rider of Ty Scott. So still the same up front with 6.5 laps to go in this race. Skoltz holding on to a couple tenths of a second lead over PJ Jacobsen, who seems like he's biding his time at the moment.
Yeah, and you kind of now you start to wonder when you watch these both of these guys riding, where is the spot for PJ that something could possibly happen as far as the pass goes. So, you know, right now, both these guys are so seasoned, kind of riding out the middle part of this race. Really, for PJ, unless he feels like he's got a ton of pace over Matthew, he knows that if he goes by him, he's going to get attacked back probably pretty immediately.
Yeah, maybe turn 11 is not the spot he wants to attack.
Yeah, last year we saw it go a little wrong there between these two.
Right here, yeah.
And but then again, maybe PJ will make a statement and say, you know what, I'm going to get back by him. Same kind of place, you know. So, but you know, these guys, they race each other hard. We've watched them race against each other a lot. And but for PJ, he's just kind of going to plan his move.
In a turn number 13 they go, and Ty's got a problem.
So I think it's something definitely weird. Like, I don't know if it's a brake thing or what it could be, but when you keep looking down to the right side like he's doing there, you're either looking for some sort of fluid, maybe your boot sliding off the bike, or you see all the dirt on the left side of the tire here. He's gonna have to be a little careful tipping in. But you know, it could just be something where he can't get the bike slowed down or whatever. And now he's coming into looks like into the clutches of Jake Lewis there, up behind him.
Yeah, he's still trying to do the right thing, though. Keep it out and get some points, because this championship still has a long way to go. So for Ty Scott, he's got 6 laps remaining in this race. So that's going to feel like a long way away. And now this battle for 6th place, Ojiwara and Torin Collins, the number 71. So for Torin Collins out of Alberta, out of Calgary, Canada, on the Altus Motorsports GSXR 750. There's a couple Suzuki's getting after it here in Next Generation Supersport. You can see, you get a really good look at this young Japanese rider who leads the Asia Talent Cup Championship undefeated, Jason, so far in the season in 4 races. And keep in mind that Asia Talent Cup, there's some really big names in MotoGP that came through there. Iagora for one. Yeah. The races for the American Trackhouse Racing Team in MotoGP. Samsiak Chantra.
Yeah, for sure. And when you look at this now, it's like for him, he's just learning away here. Look at Torin. Torin's trying to go down the inside. Ooh. And for Torin Collins, it's so good to see him putting in a good, solid effort here. Both of these guys, lap time to lap time, they've done the exact, pretty much identical same lap time, minute 44.5s as far as that goes. So this is going to be a nice little battle down to the end. And you know, both of them had decent results yesterday in the sense that they got through the race, probably made some changes overnight, and good to see Torin up there battling for that top 7 placing. I know we've had a little bit of carnage this race, but it definitely gives a few of these riders a little bit extra motivation to knock it up a notch and get that extra spot.
If you're wondering about Ty Scott's progression, keep an eye on the left-hand part of your screen in that scoring pylon. You can see that right now he is in 8th place, and this will move by each sector. So Jason and I look at our timing and scoring, and we get basically start-finish line with sector times. Like, for instance, Teague Hobbs, we know just went his personal Sector 3 best run on the back of his best lap of the race, a 1:43.617.
Look who he's on the back of. That's the crazy part. He is. Teague Hobbs has actually caught Blake Davis, and now we're watching Ty Scott right now. Last time we saw him, we saw Jake Lewis right up behind him, and now Jake is still back there behind him. So it's interesting to see Jake's just not having the best weekend he's had on the Supersport bike, but Ty Scott now charging forward again. It looks like he is going to see the battle of Ryota and Torin just up the front of him, Ojiwara and Collins, that is, up in the front. So that's going to be his motivation. And Jake just a little bit off this weekend on that Supersport bike, running around back there in 9th. Jamie, what you got on Jake?
Well, Jake started the season off. He had a ton of confidence after some strong results early on, but he said this weekend he's just feeling really frustrated. He's had 3 7th place finishes consecutively when you go back to Road America, and he just really feels like he's not able to do with the bike what he sees Matthew Skoltz and Blake Davis do with their Yamahas, and he's trying to figure it out. He said this weekend, I'm just really scratching my head, just need to get through this one, collect as many points as possible, and then put it behind him and move forward.
Yeah, because I think sometimes we lose sight of the fact that this R9 is a brand new motorcycle, and so teams are going their own paths to develop the bike, and some have a step on it on some other teams, and so do some riders. All right, so Teague Hobbs now closing down on Blake Davis. This is the battle for 3rd.
Yeah, and you can say what you like about some of the stuff that we've had happen as far as a few of the top riders. Blake Davis, the top rider, he's usually battling for podiums. Teague Hobbs, top rider that we're not used to seeing get podiums, and he right now is on the back of Blake Davis. He's caught Blake Davis. At one point he was some 2.5 seconds back, so Teague is charging forward on that 79 BPR performance Yamaha R9. And, you know, again, this is going to give him a lot of motivation moving forward in the season. And both these guys are itching for that podium. They are about, what, Greg, are they about 9 seconds back? They're about 9 seconds back of the leaders. And they got, Teague's about 3.5 seconds ahead of Corey Alexander at the moment.
Jamie, what about Teague Hobbs?
Well, it's not a fluke that he has this pace here in the race. I was speaking with his teammate, Josh Hayes. We saw go down early on in this race, and he really gave Teague a whole bunch of props. He said, this weekend, Teague's just been better than me. Josh was really struggling, but Teague was able to get behind him in qualifying, pick up on some of the areas where Josh was really good, and then he was able to apply him and put all of these laps together, string each of the sectors together. But Josh said this is going to be a turning point for the young Teague Hobbs, and going forward, I'd expect to see him up here going for the podium again.
Yeah, going forward's really a good talking point, because just in about 2 weeks' time, we're at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, a racetrack that has kind of similar characteristics to this track. And then we go to Virginia International Raceway, another racetrack that has similar characteristics, and to Mid-Ohio. So, you know, building confidence here at Ridge Motorsports Park is really going to pay dividends moving forward, especially for the next couple of rounds.
Well, not just that, but over the last few years, we've heard that Teague could be in or could be out and that kind of thing. And this guy deserves to be in our paddock, and you can see here how well he is riding. And keeping Blake Davis is going to give him a lot of confidence. And, you know, to Josh's credit, Josh has seen a lot of people roll in and out of our paddock, and he's not just going to feed a compliment like that without it being deserved. So good for Teague, and like you say, we'll be moving on to Laguna Seca in a couple weeks. But I tell you, if he can figure out a way to get by Blake, it's going to give him a big shot in the arm moving forward.
2.5 laps to go. Motivation Supersport race number 2 here from Ridge Motorsports Park. Matthew Skoltz leads just ahead of PJ Jacobsen. They are 10 seconds up ahead of this battle for second place between Davis and Hobbs. There's Corey Alexander, who's worked his way into 5th place. He's 3.5 seconds behind. And here comes this battle between Collins, Ojiwara, and Ty Scott have caught him. So while Jamie was talking earlier, we saw that Collins was able to get around Ojiwara, but look how quickly Ty Scott, you know, that's one of those on-bike things. Maybe Ty has figured out what's going on. He's able to ride around it now, but all of a sudden he's trying to get himself the most points possible past these two riders, get himself into 6th place as Collins looks over his shoulder.
Yeah, Torrance just got to keep his head straight and go forward and keep hitting his marks ahead of him. He's got, you know, he's got guys right behind him. You know, you can hear those guys. Really impressed with Ojiwara right now. He gets past and just starts reapplying pressure the best that he can. Torrens in there deep, gets the bike turn. Ojiwara right behind him, and now Ty Scott's got to figure out a way to get through and turn an 8th place into a possible 6th place. And he's going to have 2 laps to go to do that. So we'll see if Ty's able to make a couple of spots back. 3 GSXR 750s from 3 different teams here.
Certainly are. So you have Torrin Collins, number 71 on that Altus Motorsports machine. Ojiwara, the number 30 on the Vezra Racing machine. Keep in mind, for Ojiwara, he's new to these Dunlop tires as well. So the question becomes, as we have a lap and a half to go in this race, if he's in a position to attack, how much confidence is he going to have in that front end and front tire, even with what we've seen as chatter in the front of that bike. So it looks like it's going to be a difficult bike to battle with. But then you have the ever-present Vision Wheel M4X Star Suzuki of Ty Scott. Now, Jay, I will say that I did speak with some people down in the Vezra crew talking about Ojiwara, and they said, look, it's great that he was doing well earlier this weekend in practice and in qualifying, but when it comes down to it, this 16-year-old is a racer, and if he's got a shot at it, in one position, he's going to take it.
Yeah, I love it, and that's what you got to do. You have to be in that mindset of trying to figure out a way to attack that person. And here we go, Greg. We're going to have a lap and about 2 corners to go. And Matthew Skoltz has just been able to do everything he can. And when you're at this stage in the race and you've led for this long, now you're just trying to put in a qualifying lap, if you will. Even though you know you're on tires that have 15 laps on it, he's going to see the white flag. Keep in mind, Greg, he came into this race a lot of points back, and he's going to, you know, if he can hold on for this final lap, he's clawed back 10 points, big championship points as we head off to Monterey.
Down into turn number 1 up the hill we go. This is where the Ducati has started to show a lot of strength in terms of being able to hold tighter lines. PJ Jacobsen, oh, we got lap traffic just up
there
ahead.
Yes, I saw that.
There'll be some blue flags out, so hopefully that won't be a factor in the race. But if PJ's got any chance, he's running out of corners to attack. So,
yeah, Shane Maggs, I believe that is. He gets out of the way nicely there, and you can just see again the difference in lines. PJ's able to hold that bike pretty tight, but Matthew's putting in a great lap. Look at that first split, Greg. PJ just went fastest first split of the race by 2/10. Look at Matthew. He is trying so hard to just get away, and he's done a job here on PJ as far as they went through that first split, which is right before turn 6, and then Matthew just nailed turn 6 and pulled a big gap out. And you know, it'll be interesting to see what Matthew does as he comes out of this next right-hander. Sometimes you want to know how close somebody is. He'll probably move over to the left, and yeah, he's on the left-hand side of the track. See that? Now he'll move back over to the right. But he doesn't realize how big of a lead he actually has as he has 3 turns to go.
Down the hill he goes, the number 1 plate. Trying to have the point deficit he had coming into this weekend. So with a couple of corners to go, Matthew Skults. It looks like he's done all the work to get it done. All the pressure from PJ Jacobsen. Onto the straightaway we go, and the checkered flag awaits, and Skults takes Motivation Supersport race number 2 victory with PJ Jacobsen in second on the back of the fastest lap of the race. Matthew Skults, a 1:42.654, and the battle for the final step of the podium. And in the draft is Teague Hobbs. He's not going to be able to get it done, so Blake Davis holds on. And here comes that battle for 5th place, 6th place.
Scott is, did he get by both of them? Looks like he may have got, he did. Ty Scott went to work and got by both Torrin Collins and Ojawara there to finish 6th. Collins 7th, Ojawara 8th. Jake Lewis does end up finishing 9th, but it's this guy, Greg. It's a big sweep this weekend, getting 2 wins here at the Ridge.
Fastest lap of the race on the last lap for Matthew Skults, but also the fastest personal lap of the race for PJ Jacobsen. So both of them were pushing so hard in the last lap. So a 1:42.654 in the last lap for Skults, a 1:42.748 for PJ Jacobsen, and that translates into a 6/10 of a second margin of victory. As you can see, left side of your screen, that race pace,
wow, that's
when you want to do it the most.
I mean,
you know, when the tires got 15 laps on it and you got a low fuel load. Wow, what a race by Matthew Skults. So much pressure by PJ.
I said going into that last lap, you want it to be like a qualifying lap. You know, it's like when you've done that much work, and man, they both just run the fastest laps of the race. Amazing.
And Skults was able to do it 4/10 of a second off his qualifying lap. All right, we're going to step away from the Ridge. When we come back, we'll talk to Matthew Skults about that win.
Double tops here for Matthew Skults today, and those 50 points, Raj, takes that championship advantage for PJ Jacobsen down to 10 points.
Yeah, that was a big weekend for Matt. He needed to come in and capitalize. The track day is really strong at, and he was able to do that today, even with the pressure from PJ. Matt was able to come in and get a couple wins, and now close it down to 10 points. He's starting to chip away at it, and there's still a long ways to go, but I think also for PJ, just didn't have the pace this weekend, but he still comes here and gets 20 points, and let's move on.
Yeah, for PJ as well, that fastest lap of his at the end of the race showed a big step forward from yesterday, and 10 points between them now as we head to Laguna next time out. But when you look at the weekend as a whole for Matt, he had that crash in qualifying too. That could have defined his weekend, and instead he was able to come back and dominate both races.
No, and he really all weekend practice and qualifying always had a little bit on the rest of the field, and even in today's race toward the end, it just seemed like he was able to always have that little bit extra. And it's just one of those tracks, and you got to give the team a lot of credit as well. They've given Matt a really good bike, and he's a good rider, and that's a tough combination.
Yeah, you always seem to have the answers for PJ during the course of this weekend, but over the course of the season so far, not a lot to choose between them, and only 10 points now being that difference in the championship standings. And good effort from Blake Davis as well up there on the podium, teammate to Matthew Skults as well. And for Yamaha, double podiums there, PJ Jacobsen just in the middle of them, but for Blake, he was able to get that last lap and come through as well to get that 3rd spot.
Yeah, and Teague Hobbs is going to be a little disappointed there, being so close to the podium. But, man, what a great ride by Teague there to be in that podium battle with Blake.
Yeah, great effort from Blake to be able to get the podium. Teague did a good job through the course of this race as well. We'll go back to Greg and JP to bring us through the podium celebrations.
As riders head to victory lane for celebrations, there is Matthew Skoltz, the winner of the race, celebrating with his crew and team owner, Peter Strack of Strack Racing, and the flagship Yamaha R9 program for the season here in MotoAmerica Motivation Supersport. And there's a couple of riders that are having to walk back after that unfortunate incident. Cameron Peterson all the way to the left and Josh Hayes to the right. So here's how the riders that actually finished the race ended up. So you have Skoltz with that 0.6 of a second victory over PJ Jacobsen. Blake Davis holding off Teague Hobbs by a 10th. Corey Alexander in 5th. Ty Scott able to really work out what was going on with his bike. In 6th place, Collins, Ojiwara, Jake Lewis, and Enriquez. Well, Jason, when you come into a weekend like this and you have a 20-point deficit if you're Matthew Skoltz and everything goes according to plan, pole position, 2 race wins, what are you thinking moving forward?
Well, Matthew's going to come in here thinking the championship still has to go through him, even though he's 20 points back. And I think that what he did today is he proved that that is going to be the case. He's trimmed that down to 10, and we'll see what he has to say with Jamie.
Matthew Skoltz still debriefing with his team and getting a good drink of water. Certainly earned the refreshments there for you. For the first time this season, a back-to-back race winner in defense of this championship. Matthew, you looked a lot more comfortable out there today, but it seems like a lot of thoughts going through your head here to celebrate. How did that race unfold for you?
Yeah, I mean, I felt pretty comfortable out there, but the wind was really a factor this race. It came up, in the first few laps and was really, pushing me in a couple corners that I'm usually strong at. So I felt like it was kind of keeping me from rolling through the faster bits of the sector, up the wheelie hill into corner 10. But overall, thank you to the Strack Racing team. They've been giving me an awesome motorcycle, and I'm very happy to take my first double of this year. I feel like this track was a turning point for me last year, and I feel like it's another turning point for the 25 season. So looking forward to heading into the next one and trying to just rack up a few more wins.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
That's really good. Interesting about the winds moving forward for the rest of the day here today. We're going to have to keep an eye on the wind.
Shaved the stash, too.
He shaved the stash.
Shaved the stash off overnight, so.
Good pull. Yeah, let's get back down to Jamie with our 2nd place finisher.
But PJ Jacobsen still the point leader here in the 2025 championship. You weren't happy with the race yesterday. You still needed a little bit more. What do you think about the one today?
Yeah, we got second. We got beat again. So it was difficult out there, but we found a lot of positives. I feel like in the front end overnight and stuff. So the team worked really hard, and they did a great job having this bike. I felt really good out there and stuff. Just unfortunately, I couldn't bring it back with a win. But a positive is I didn't crash, and I have some 20 points on the board like last year. So that's a positive. And then I'm going to Laguna where I got double wins last year. So I'm looking forward to bringing the Ducati V2 there.
Championship's about to heat up, guys.
Oh, it certainly is. I like the moxie as the number 15. Gets out of here with a good points haul. He gets 40 for the weekend.
Right.
And he still has that points lead.
Absolutely. And, to PJ's credit, he said, hey, we got beat. And he's going to get with his team, and they're going to do whatever they can to get him ready for Laguna.
Let's get back down to Jamie, who has the 22 in 3rd.
Blake Davis yesterday was not able to charge onto the podium. You said it all came down to the start. You were much more aggressive early on in the race today. How much happier are you after this one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a lot happier. I struggled all weekend, and this race just really boosted my confidence going into Laguna. So, yeah, I mean, me and Teague had a really good battle for 3rd. I put a pretty hard move on him on the last lap, but it was a lot of fun. And, yeah, I just want to thank everyone that's gotten me here. Strack, Yamaha, KYT, Dainese, Akrapovic, just everyone that's put something into this program. It's amazing for me. Thank you.
It's great to watch. Congratulations.
That's a really good result for him.
It sounds like Teague got by him at some point.
Yeah.
So he had to put a pretty hard move on him. So those guys battled all the way. But when you got 2 guys at the front setting the fastest laps of the race, we obviously missed that. So, but yeah, good for Blake.
All right, our coverage from Ridge Motorsports Park for Motivation Supersport Race number 2 will roll on after this break.
Matthew Skoltz, the race winner here in race 2 at the Ridge. And Roger, when we hear from the riders down there in Park Ferme, you could hear from Matt just the importance of this race for his championship challenge.
Yeah, and being as strong as he was, and now he wants to go on a run. He needs to start making some points, and this could be a big changing point into the season for him. And, you know, come in here 20 points, and now it's only 10 points. You can kind of start to see the progress you're making for him and his team, but he's got to keep it going.
Laguna is obviously a very different track for these riders to go to next. And what's PJ Jacobson going to be thinking?
Yeah, PJ's going to try to get back to winning. And these two here are going to swap wins throughout the year. Both these riders, every single track, they're both going to be fighting for wins. There's just such a both the young talent, but for PJ going to a place where he won't get a double win last year, he's got to be feeling pretty confident going into there. And Matt's got to be thinking, well, I was right there. You know, I'm a little better this year, so I should be a little better there. And that's all I needed to get a win last year.
And obviously for PJ as well, keeps that run of podiums in every race through the course of this season. He's got that consistency, and for his team, they'll know that even though this was a really tough weekend, they were able to make steps as the weekend progressed to be able to challenge Scholz at the front of the field after really on Friday it looked like there was going to be a big margin between them.
Yeah, and just all weekend they were able to make big changes to that Ducati and getting PJ closer and closer to the front. And at the end, you know, when you go back and look at yesterday's race, it was 4 seconds. Today, you know, it's just a little over half a second. So they made huge improvements overnight that I'm sure they can carry on to other tracks.
Yeah, big steps made overnight, and into Laguna in a couple of weeks' time they'll be expecting to be right there at the front once again. Blake Davis, teammate to Matthew Scholz as well, he'll be expecting to be in there in that podium fight as well. A really strong performance by Blake to be able to come away with that third spot on the podium after that last lap battle with Teague Hobbs.
Motivation Supersport is brought to you by Dunlop, the official tire of the MotoAmerica Championship Series. By NXT Bets. Play MotoAmerica for cash, multiple race classes live on top sportsbook and DFS platforms all season long. And by Motivation, the most trusted online resource for premium motorcycle parts and accessories delivered right to your door.
Celebration time for our top three, Scholz, Jacobson, and Davis. And this is the spoils of war. But not on the podium is the pride of New Hampshire, and he finished fourth, and he's with Jamie right now.
And that is Teague Hobbs, who came over to the podium. He watched the celebration, even got a couple of congratulations from all of the competitors for that intense battle. It's your best result of the season. We saw the fight with Blake Davis. Take us through that race.
Oh man, I really tried everything I could. That race just proved one thing: BPR, Yamaha, that R9. You know, we're here to stay and we're here to compete, and it's our best finish of the year. It's been difficult, but that race showed some promising our efforts. You know what I mean? And we've been working so hard. Thank you to Bryce for giving me this opportunity. Thank you to my family for watching. I'm really happy. I love this track. I like Laguna coming up. I just want to bring it there.
A lot of momentum going forward.
Oh, yeah, and you know, when you're looking ahead at the calendar and you like the racetrack and you come off a weekend like this, good things can happen when you show up to the racetrack next. Really excited for Teague Hobbs and his BPR racing team. When we get back, we're going to take a look at some highlights and do some other things from Shelton, Washington. Motivation Supersport race number 2 rolls on.
Yeah, cracking Motivation Supersport race. I've now made my way down to the grid as we start our build-up towards Superbike, but so much to take away from that Supersport race, including, of course, the resurgence to the front there for Teague Hobbs. So good to see for the BPR Yamaha team. And what about a shout-out, too, for Tyler Scott? It would have been quite easy there just to maybe settle and take those 8 points or 7 points for 8th or 9th, but he dug deep and was able to salvage his second top 6 of the weekend. And for sure, the Vision Wheel M4 X-Star Suzuki, they're going to regroup and come out swinging in a couple of weeks' time. Fingers crossed as well that we get to see Ojiwara. I know him a little bit from his Asia Talent Cup exploits. What a great addition to the MotoAmerica Championship on that Vesra Suzuki. And good to see Torin Collins, a guest of ours on the preview show a couple of weeks ago in Road America. He did a really good job in that race as well. But Steve and Roger, so much to deduce from that. Ultimately, what we can say was another Supersport thriller.
And for the Supersport class, we've been able to see some great racing here once again at the Ridge. And for the likes of Matthew Scholes, we've already talked about the championship battle between himself and PJ Jacobsen, but Corey Alexander able to recover well from what's been a tough weekend. Rog coming away with a top 5 finish.
Yeah, and that could get his season back on track. He's had a lot of bad luck early on in this year, so come here now and be able to get a good top 5 results. Lap times were pretty good. Now I think he can just kind of get that season going.
And obviously enough, what we've been able to see over the course of the season so far is that variety for manufacturers out there. As Michael said, Ty Scott, even with all the problems, able to come away with a top 6 finish on his Suzuki as well. And for the championship, as we gear up towards Laguna, we'll hear from Greg and JP to round up the action here in Supersport.
And we're off and we're racing. Everybody trying to get a good start. Maybe it's going to be the 65 of Page who leads us in. No, up the inside, it's going to be Sam Drain. Oh, man, both riders. This young man comes to the stripe and will take the win. Oh, you got to check out Generation Speed, Episode 2, July 10th on YouTube and Motorsports 1 Network. Cannot wait to check that out. Our crew has done such an outstanding job of putting together a great show. Generation Speed. All right, Motivation Supersport race number 2. Jason Pridmore, here are the highlights.
Man, there was some stuff happening at the beginning of this race, but it was the same 3 guys that we've seen lead so much over the last couple of years. Matthew Scholes, Ty Scott, PJ Jacobsen. A little bit further back, Cam Peterson just got into the side of Josh Hayes. Sadly, both riders are out. Both riders were okay. We saw them both talking to each other. And Cam, hopefully he's all right with that, any leg injuries. Ty Scott started to go a little bit backwards. You see Blake Davis goes through. That's after P.J. Jacobsen had got himself up into 2nd place. And here you go, Greg. This is the move that we must have not seen. Teague Hobbs slams it up the inside of Blake. Blake fires right back as they went down through that turn 7-8 area. But it was Matthew Scholes to P.J. Jacobsen up front. Matthew would win by just under a second and run the fastest lap of the race on his last lap.
Yeah, that's a celebration well deserved because he had all kinds of pressure. So we told you about it. It was 20 points coming into the weekend, and now PJ leads by 10 points over Matthew Scholes. Blake Davis getting some points, so he's now separated himself from Ty Scott. Jake Lewis in 5th place, Cameron Peterson, Kayla Yakov, and Josh Hayes. So Teague Hobbs with a good points haul for him, too, in 9th place. Let's take a look at the schedule moving forward, JP, because coming up here in less than 2 weeks, we're in Monterey, California at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. Then we're back in Alton, Virginia at Virginia International Raceway August 1, 2, and 3. Then Mid-Ohio, Circuit of the Americas, and we finish off the season in Jersey. How excited are you for WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca?
Man, I can hardly wait to get up there. The weather's always perfect. We always get a big crowd there.
Why you say that?
It's going to be fine. It's July. It's California. It's going to be fine.
Say that.
Trust me.
Yeah,
me.
We go from the waterfall to the corkscrew. Well, Shelton, Virginia, and the entire state has treated us so well here at Ridge Motorsports Park. We are excited to bring you the action from WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, July 11th through the 13th. For Jason and Jamie, I'm Greg. Thanks so much for joining us for Motivation Supersport race number 2 from Ridge Motorsports Park. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.